It's been 10 weeks since I started Mounjaro. Stay with me, guys, and I'll tell you all about it. Hi guys, thank you so much for joining me here today on this video. My name is Angela and thank you for coming and spending a little time out with me today. So guys, it's been 10 weeks that I have started my Mounjaro journey, and wow, what a journey it has been. So in a few minutes I'm going to give you my results for my 10th week, my 10th weigh-in, but also for the past 10 weeks. So we're at the start of a new year. Happy New Year to you if you are watching this in January. And some people may be thinking about starting on Mounjaro or kickstarting their health and weight loss journey, and I've had a few people contact me and they're questioning whether Mounjaro is right for them to start their weight loss journey. And what I'd say is, first and foremost, speak to your medical practitioner. Definitely talk to your doctor, your GP, your consultant, your practice nurse, and get some advice from them, because everybody is different, and this medication, just like every other medication, isn't right for everybody. So definitely speak to your practitioner, your medical team, as to whether it's right for you. Assuming that they say it's right for you, then I would say go for it. There's always going to be side effects of any medication that some people may experience, some people may not experience. Even something as everyday and simple as paracetamol can have side effects. Lots of people take ibuprofen for swelling and inflammation. That is something I can't take, because the side effect it has for me is it impacts my kidneys. So yeah, every medication tends to have side effects, and some side effects affect people and it won't affect others. So what I'd say is definitely do your research, read the reviews, but do take a balanced view. So definitely take that medical advice if you're thinking about starting in the new year. Take that medical advice first, then do some research, speak to a couple of people, and then balance that all out for you. When I had lost about 9.5 stone with Weight Watchers, intermittent fasting, and also mindful eating, and then my practitioner, my medical team, I'm type 2 diabetic, they recommended that I try the medication to sort of try and help my type 2 diabetes become more stabilized. And I was really unsure, and I was really nervous about taking the medication. I'd read all sorts of things, and at the end of the day, this is what helped me to decide to take the medication. Yes, there may be side effects for you. I had a couple of side effects which I share in this video and a couple of other videos, but they were nothing major. It wasn't anything major. But I realised that being overweight and uncontrolled type 2 diabetes, the risks of those were much bigger than any risk that is known at the moment for Mounjaro. And I say that because it's still in its infancy, and we don't always know the full effects until at least 20 years. So I was looking at that and I thought, if my type 2 diabetes remains uncontrolled, it's been diagnosed for many years, but if it remains uncontrolled, that can lead to some significant health conditions. It can lead to a heart disease, can lead to stroke, can lead to blindness, to amputation. I'm already seeing changes with my eyes, and ultimately it can lead to death. And I've got family members who have died of type 2 complications, type 2 diabetes complications. So I was looking at that and thinking, do I want to live with type 2 diabetes that's not well controlled, or do I want to take a medication that, yeah, we don't know a huge amount about, but so far there's got lots of positive benefits to it. And you know, even though at the time I'd lost 9.5 stone, I still had a couple of stone to lose, and I was still in the obese category. So I was again thinking, you know, what's the balance? You know, do I want to just remain in the obese category and live with all of those, you know, health conditions associated with obesity, or do I want to take the medication and take my chances? So when I looked at it that way and thought, yes, there are some risks of taking the medication, but there's a lot bigger risks of being having uncontrolled type 2 diabetes and being obese. It outweighed it for me, so I decided to take it. And yes, I was nervous, very, very nervous about having the injection, and thinking about how it's going to impact my life, and you know, even just the social element. You know, I love to go out and eat with family and friends, and I was thinking, how's that going to impact me? But all of those things were minor, because I could navigate those, I could control those, I was in control of those. What I wasn't in control of was, you know, all those major health risks. Or, well, I could control them, but I had to work very hard on them. But, you know, whether I was going to finish my dinner or not, you know, that was neither here nor there to me. So I decided to take a leap of faith and to start on Mounjaro. Now, up until I started, as I say, I'd lost about 9.5 stone. It was in fact 9 stone 5 pounds, and my journey was very slow. Nothing wrong in that at all, and I learned a lot about myself on that journey. And I had lost, my average was about less than half a pound a week. Nothing wrong with that. It was healthy, it was safe. I started to get consistent with my weight losses. I was getting all the benefits, but more importantly, I was educating myself about me, my body, my limits, my strengths, my areas of development. You know, I'd learnt so much about myself. So when I started on Mounjaro, the weight started to come off really quickly. And my average is about 2 pounds a week. That's about my average. Again, nothing wrong in that. I'm just finding now that my appetite is very, very severely reduced. I don't eat a lot. I didn't eat a lot before, but now I eat even less, which allows my body to turn to the fat stores that are stored on my body, and is using those fat stores for energy. So I'm learning some new habits, learning more about myself, about, you know, I will be honest, I still have a craving for those sweet treats. So I'm learning about myself, and I'm learning what more about those triggers, what is triggering me to go for those sweet things, and having that sweet taste. I'm learning more about, you know, what causes me to feel stressed and to be stressed, and then to eat, to stress eat. I'm learning all of that. Now, because I have a reduced appetite, I will still feel stressed, and the habit is driving me to want to eat. But I physically can't eat because I've got no appetite. but it's the habit. So I've really been able to pull that element out and really focusing on some of those habits that led me to be overweight and led me to damage my health. And it's now helping me to turn that around and to say, okay, I'm not hungry, but the habit is there driving me to want to turn to the cupboards and look for something to eat. So, and then when I do, I'm like, oh, I don't really fancy it. So now I'm learning, okay, let me do something else instead. Yeah, let me do something else. So that's where I'm at this point in my journey, 10 weeks in. But I'd say if you've got any doubts, any fears, yeah, once you've spoken to your medical practitioner, then, you know, and they give you the go ahead, then what I'd say is feel the fear and do it anyway. Just do it. Because, you know, if after a couple of weeks you decide, you know what, it's not for me, you can always stop it. Yeah, you can always stop it. So yeah, so that's where I'm at with it. So 10 weeks in, guys, 10 weeks in, and as of last week, I lost 17.5 pounds, and I actually had gained a pound last week. And I gained a pound, and it wasn't because of fat. I gained a pound because I was so very, very poorly, and I had a lot. In fact, I was very inflamed for the past 2 or 3 weeks. And the 1 week, and I still lost weight in those weeks where I was really seriously badly inflamed. So I kind of felt that it was going to catch up with me at some point. And sure enough, it did. It was also the Christmas week, but I know that it wasn't because of eating excess food and excess drinking. I know that it wasn't that. I know that it was, and I know that because I know, you know, I didn't even do a Christmas shop. That's how it was. I just didn't have the appetite for it, and I didn't miss it either, is the honest truth. But I knew that that gain was from fluid retention because of the nature of my health condition. And I know my body, you know, really sort of learned about my body and educated myself about my condition and my body and how it works. And I knew that when I am unwell and I am very inflamed, I can gain 2-3 pounds easily. But I also know that when that inflammation goes down, it's going to come off again. And come off it did. 3 pounds off on the scales. I had my weigh-in on Saturday, 3 pounds off. So yeah, so part of that was a pound that I had gained the week before, and also after Christmas, you know, still being on Mounjaro, doing what I'm doing, it was coming off. So that now brings me to 20 pounds in 10 weeks, which again is my average, 2 pounds a week. That is my average. So funnily enough, I'm also on metformin and dappliflozin, and one thing that I have personally noticed when I'm taking metformin is I physically feel different. So over Christmas, I kind of, very naughty of me, but I did forget to take my metformin, you know, being busy and everything. And when I don't take it, I feel physically different. I feel heavier, I feel more bloated, I feel more uncomfortable in myself. I don't feel as, I just feel like a bit heavier in the belly, in the stomach. And I suppose that's testament to the fact that metformin is doing its job and it is working. It's doing something. And the same with dappliflozin. So because I've missed a couple of days of it, and you know, let's be honest, I don't know if that's a placebo, I don't know if that's psychological, but I just know I always feel a bit different. So I didn't feel like I'd lost £3. I didn't feel like I'd lost any weight. In fact, I felt like I'd gained, because I just felt a bit heavier in the belly and the stomach, and I just didn't feel as light and as nimble. So I was really surprised when I got on the scales and £3 off. So because this is about my health, and you know, primarily about my health, I'm back on my metformin, back on it like a hot car bonnet. Yeah, can't afford to mess up on my metformin any longer, so back on that, and also the dappliflozin. So yeah, and funnily enough, since I've been consistently taking it for the past few days, that feeling of heaviness is gone, and I'm feeling lighter and nimble again. So yeah, I think metformin is definitely doing something, definitely. So yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see what my HbA1c results are, and I'm due to have that towards the end of the month. So yeah, there we go, guys. £20 in 10 weeks, average of £2 off. Overall, I'm really happy that I'm on it. I'm really pleased that I made the decision to be on it. We will see about my HbA1c and see if that's shifted and what's happening with that. But in terms of my weight loss, really pleased that I made that decision. So if you're thinking about, is Mounjaro right for you? Should you do it? Maybe you've heard a lot of negative comments about it. Yes, there are people who've been in hospital, who's been hospitalized, suffering with all sorts of health conditions, and people have died as well, and they've linked it to Mounjaro. What I'd say is, it's really unfortunate that, you know, people have become ill and have died due to it. But what we don't hear is all the people who've died, the hundreds and thousands of people who die every single year in this country alone of obesity related illnesses and disease. We don't hear that, and it'll be millions of people every year, well, maybe not millions, but hundreds and thousands. No. And what we don't hear is the thousands and thousands and thousands of people who die of obesity related health conditions, diabetes, stroke, high blood pressure, heart disease, you know, all of those conditions related to obesity, you know, all of those things we don't ever hear of. But what we are hearing is people are putting the focus on Mounjaro and trying to slam it. So yeah, guys, do your research, get a balance. But if you're thinking about doing it, once you've got medical clearance, give it a go, is what I say. So guys, that's it for me. 10 weeks down, feeling really good. I mean, I'm looking at myself on my monitor and I'm like, where's my shoulders? You know, honestly, guys, I do have shoulders. They are hiding somewhere underneath all of this hair. They are there, but I'm kind of like, goodness me, where's my shoulders gone? I'm kind of like, yeah, you know, my clothes, I put this top on, you can't see it, but I had this top on, and when I first bought it, it like fitted really tight and it stretched across my belly, and I put it on today and it literally just slid down my body like hot butter on the knife. And I was like, oh my goodness, it's just so loose, so baggy. And even my sports jacket, when I first bought it, like literally my chest filled it out, and there's just like so much room in it, so much room. So yeah, really pleased with how things are going on my overall journey, and also my Mounjaro journey. So guys, that's it from me. I'm going to be back next week with another weekly weigh-in and update. Now, I am a trained weight loss coach, and if you are looking for support on your journey, if you've got any questions, feel free to drop a comment in the comment section below and I'll be happy to answer it. But also, if you want one-to-one coaching as well, feel free to reach out and message me on forgot the name of it, on Facebook or Instagram. You can, it's Time Out with Angela. Feel free to message me there, and we can explore options for one-to-one coaching. Okay guys, thank you so much for being here with me. Feel free, if this video was of value, to click that subscribe button and hit the notification bell, and drop a comment below, and also do check out another video or two. Okay guys, enjoy the day, and I'll see you soon. Bye.